How about some homemade chicken and dumplings, y'all? Can't beat this comfort food, especially when it's pouring down rain and it's freezing in here because it's so hot outside. This is what you need, and it's so easy to make. Let's do it. Okay, y'all, so what I have done here, I took one very large chicken breast, probably enough to feed 4 people. I cut it into strips, like 6 or 7 big strips. I put it in here. I added 2 cups of water. I added an entire large container of the Walmart brand chicken broth. I didn't get the low sodium because I couldn't find any, so it's just the regular chicken broth. I put in an entire onion. I just cut it in half and threw it in here. And I put in a stalk and a half of celery. I cut them into yay long chunks. I added black pepper, and that is it. This simmered away for probably, I'm going to say 45 minutes. About 45 minutes, because it does not take long to cook chicken. I don't, if y'all aren't aware of that, chicken cooks very quickly. Anyway, what I'm about to do is I'm going to get the chicken out, and then I'm going to strain out the onion and the celery. And I'm going to let the chicken sit here and cool off so I can shred it with my, I'm just going to take 2 forks and shred it. And I'm just going to let the broth just sit here while the chicken cools down. And then we'll get making our dumplings. Okay, so that, I told y'all I used 1 giant chicken breast. I just want to show you how much chicken. That's a lot of chicken. That's a decent sized bowl there. And it's almost full. So, and I'm only making this for me. It'll still be enough for like 4 people at least, but I just want to show you that one very huge chicken breast makes a lot of, and all I did was take 2 forks and shred it. I also want to show you that this is what I used. I used the family size, so that's 3 pounds or 48 ounces or 1.36 kilograms for non-Americans, plus 2 cups of water. I took 1 cup out of here that we're going to make our dumplings with. Otherwise, this whole thing plus 2 cups of water. And the only thing I have added is a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper to add it to the broth and the chicken when I put the chicken in there. I haven't added a drop of salt because this has salt in it already. And I can already tell, I tasted some of the chicken. It's already very salty. I may end up adding just a tiny bit for the dumplings, but we'll see. Probably not, just because I'm using this to make our dumplings with. So, I'm going to get my flour and stuff, and we'll get our dumplings made. Okay, here I have 1 cup measured out all-purpose flour, baking powder. You don't have to add baking powder if you don't want to. I want mine to puff up just a little bit, so this is a 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to fill it about half full. So just a little puff. I'm going to add a very little bit of salt. Because like I said, that broth is already pretty salty. And I didn't add a drop. So just be mindful of that if you use, box chicken broth. I wouldn't add any salt until you literally get it made and then taste test it. Okay. Veg oil. Tablespoon. And then I have no idea what y'all saw. My phone just went wild. This is a cup of flour. I added a little bit of salt. Whisk that up. I added a tablespoon of oil, a 1/2 teaspoon of oil. Now we're going to add another 1/2 teaspoon. So a tablespoon and a teaspoon of veg oil. Okay, we'll see if my phone stays on. So, a cup of flour, a little bit of salt, a tablespoon plus a teaspoon of veg oil. I have here about 3/4 a cup of broth. Don't think we're going to need it all. I'll pour about half of it. Set that aside and see where we're at. I don't know what's going on with my phone, y'all. It keeps cutting off. So we want this to be very sticky. Okay, definitely need some more. And whatever that we don't use, we're going to pour into our chicken and dumplings anyway. That's that cup that I kept out of the container. And I think this will be enough. So if you make this and it's super sticky, don't think you have messed up. That's what it's supposed to be. And I highly recommend you make it with chicken broth. It tastes so much better. Okay. I'm going to get our counter ready and we're going to roll this out. Okay. Make sure your hands are clean. I got a good bit of flour out here. Okay. Got some more flour right here. I'm going to give this a little fold from both ends. And this is all we're going to do. You can roll them out if you want, but I don't feel like I'm making enough to have to worry about rolling them out, so. Pizza cutter. And here you go. That's all it takes, y'all. But again, make sure you have a lot of flour on this because, again, it's a very sticky dough. You want it to be a very sticky dough. But all this extra flour that we're adding on here, this is what thickens our broths. for our chicken and dumplings. So we'll take a little more of our flour here we have left and just get these well coated. And get them onto a plate. Now our next job is sitting and waiting for our broth to come back up to a boil. So I'm going to turn my eye back on the stove to medium high and get our broth to a simmer. And then we can start adding our dumplings. I'm going to clean all this mess up first too. Alright y'all, I hope y'all can see this well. I forgot what pot I was using before I decided to make these, so now we're going to add our dumplings in one at a time. And make sure you put your hand very low to your broth or you will get popped and it hurts. Just randomly drop one, drop one, drop one. That's all you gotta do. And by the time you are finished, well, that one stuck together. That's my fault for grabbing them up like I did a while ago. Might not want to do that. Just saying. By the time you finish adding all of these in like this, most of these will already be done. And then you're going to let them boil for probably, I don't know, just let them simmer for a good 5-10 minutes and then add your chicken back in. And we're just like simmering. Don't want it on full blast, just simmering. Add your chicken back in and then we'll wait another 10 minutes after that. So, 20 minutes total. And then we'll be ready to eat. Alright y'all, you see how thick our gravy's getting? That's what we want to see. I've now turned it down to like directly in the middle of low and medium. We don't need it to simmer anymore. The last thing we want to do is lose any of our liquid. Now we're going to add our chicken back in with a clean spoon. Oh my, yes. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to taste this in just a second and see if I do need to add any salt. I'm definitely going to add some more pepper. I like a lot of pepper in mine. You do yours however you like. And after I let this just sit here and mix together for 10 minutes on low, I'm going to turn it down to low now. Everything's ready. We just want it to mix together. And then we're going to eat. It doesn't get any more perfect than that, y'all. By the way, it needed 0 salt. Just that little bit, probably a 1/4 of a teaspoon that I put into the dumplings was all I needed. All I did was add more pepper. Probably in total, a 1/2 teaspoon. Again, I like black pepper in my chicken and dumplings. Make yours however you want. 4 more chicken than I thought it would be. I could have gone ahead and made the whole 1½ cup of dumplings, but anyway, this is still perfect. It's just how I like it. It's not flooded with gravy, but it's got just enough tiny dumplings. I like mine very small. And plenty of fresh cooked chicken. Ooh, that bowl's hot. Oh my gosh. Y'all, make you some chicken and dumplings. Can't go wrong. I'll put the very easy instructions in the description. Make y'all some of this. Thank y'all for being here. I'll see you soon.